AITA for telling my husband I don't want to throw my daughter a huge birthday party. Story 1. I created a Reddit account just to talk about this. My youngest daughter just turned 1 a couple of days ago. Since both me and my husband had work, we decided to celebrate on the weekend. After what happened when my oldest turned 1, I told my husband that I didn't want to throw a huge party. For context, my mill invited all her church friends to my house without my knowledge. What I thought was a small get-together with my family turned into 20 family members and friends on my husband's side that I've never met before. Also, I haven't walked into a church in like 8 years. They ate all of my food and trashed the place. Not to mention the fact that most of them showed up empty-handed. I spent the majority of the time sitting alone on the couch chugging wine as my kid was being tossed around by people I'd never seen before. When the party was over, my mill left with them, leaving me to clean up after them. I spent hours throwing away trash and mopping the floor because they also all wore shoes in the house. My husband said he was going to put my daughter to bed, shower, then help me clean, but he never came downstairs. Needless to say, I cried that night scrubbing dirt out my carpets. I told my husband this and he got super mad at me. He has this idea that I hate his mom, which is not true at all. I love that woman to death, but she has no respect for my boundaries. I've told her so many times to not feed my youngest certain food because my pediatrician said she's not ready. But of course I come to put her up and my mill is showing it down her throat. Her logic is that because she had 4 kids, she's an expert on how to raise them. She keeps buying clothes that are too big or too small for my kids, but if I don't put it on them, my husband will throw a fit. I hate to talk bad about her because I know her intentions at heart are good. I know that it's her granddaughter too, and she wants it to be special, but at the end of the day, I'm just so fucking tired. Obviously, I want my daughter to have a good birthday, but it's not like she's going to remember any of this. My husband says that I should appreciate that his mom even cares enough about us to throw a party. I do feel guilty saying I don't want her at my house when she's done so much for us. I've told my sister about this and she's on my side, but I don't know what to think anymore. Sometimes just feel so alone. Like everything I say or do is wrong. What do you guys think? First comment. You have a husband problem. He sees no wrong in his mother's actions even when they hurt you, and you think she means well. Actually, she thinks you're an idiot and that she knows everything. I suspect regardless of what you say, there's going to be another huge party and your mill's gang will trash your house again. If that happens, leave the house for the rest of the weekend and leave your husband to deal with the mess. Second comment. NTA, your husband is disrespectful toward your feelings and didn't even offer to help clean up. Why didn't you go upstairs and tell him to come down to help? And he needs to handle his mother. It's ridiculous. He doesn't respect you as a mother to his child. He's the problem. Don't throw the baby a big party. I'm assuming your husband wouldn't make the effort. And 1-year-olds don't remember their parties. Trust me. Take your baby to the park and spend the day with the 4 of you doing fun things. Mother-in-law can meet you out to dinner later and you can celebrate small at a restaurant. Third comment. This is your come to Jesus moment. No, you don't love your mill nor your husband to death because they disregard you and your feelings and treat you like a doormat when it comes to them telling you that you should feel guilty for everything everyone does for you, when it's just the simple fact that it's just what narcissists will say. Tell them how you're going to handle your youngest's birthday. Tell your mill how you'll raise your children, and if she doesn't like it, then she can take your husband back since he thinks you're not doing the job right anyway. Those children are looking to you to protect them from assholes like those two. Story 2. AITA for refusing to take a photo of my sister to college with me? Not the a-hole. Before my parents had me 18M, they had my sister Emily. Emily was 3 years older than me and she died when I was a few months old. My parents never recovered. My whole childhood I was in the shadows of the child they lost. I get that grief does things to people and that losing a child is the worst loss a parent can suffer, but it was like I didn't exist most of the time. They talked about Emily all the time. Sometimes they could acknowledge she was gone, but more often than not she was talked about like she was still around. The most attention I got from my parents is when they force-fed words about how much I loved Emily. It never came natural for me to say I love Emily and I miss her so much. I didn't know Emily, but I did feel haunted by her. I had a big photo of Emma wall opposite my bed growing up. They wanted me to fall asleep to my sister looking over me. It always felt creepy. But they had photos of her in every room, even the bathroom. I remember trying to take the photo in my room down and my parents had a hugely explosive reaction. Like I'm talking, they yelled so loud the neighbors came to check on us. Emily's room was never touched after she died, and sometimes my parents would sit in there for hours sometimes. I was also forced to sit with them in there sometimes, but I had to be very careful because I couldn't touch anything or make the room filthy. Extended family were always so caught between being nicer to me to try and make up for my parents or coddling my parents and putting the weight of their grief and Emily's death on my shoulders. They would tell me not to be so harsh on my parents when my parents would let me down. My parents could never celebrate anything I did. My extended family tried to fill that gap. But sometimes it felt like they came just to lecture me about compassion and understanding. I did good through school, despite getting no help or support from my parents, and I got a full scholarship to college. Before I left, my extended family came over to say goodbye and celebrate a little, because there could be no celebrating me at my parents' house. My parents had these photos of Emily for me to take. They told me I'd need them for my dorm. But I left them behind. I didn't want to take photos of Emily. I wanted to get away from them, and that might seem really unfair. My parents realized the next day, and I got a text from my dad calling me all sorts of names for leaving them behind. Then my extended family said I could have taken one and should, because Emily is still my sister and I should still try to remember her for my parents' sake if not mine. AITA? All? First comment. This is a big one. NTA in any way at all. Your parents need help, and it's very sad that they never got that. You should be proud and allowed to live your life. I wish you all the best in this next phase of your life. When you are older, maybe you can try sitting down and really talking to your parents about all of this. This likely can't happen until they get help, which they seem unlikely to. I wish I had something better or more helpful to say. Just know that you are NTA at all. Second comment. NTA, but if you're in the US, I would play pretend for 3 more years. Even though you're on a full scholarship, your college will require a FAFSA from your parents each year, and it's critical that you get a degree and get independent from your parents. What they're doing is deeply manipulative and disturbing, and I can't see how you'll be able to maintain anything more than a very low contact relationship after college. But for now, do enough to keep them engaged in your college FAFSAs. Have them mail the photos and hang them when they visit, if there's no way to avoid a visit. Warn your roommate what's up. The day your senior year financial aid FAFSA is officially submitted, you can end the charade. Third comment. ID brutally honest. ID look them in the face and say, now you have 2 dead children, BCM, done with this bullshit. If I hear Emily name one more time, you will never see me again. Leave it at that and let the ball be in their court. Story 3. AITA for pointing out the fact that my GF and her friend could not be mistaken for sisters as they look nothing alike and are different races. Hey all, let me know if I did anything wrong here. I wasn't trying to be mean or anything, but I think I did offend them accidentally. So I was hanging out with my girlfriend and her friend. We went shopping and didn't buy much, but they bought some clothes. Then back at home, they both tried on one of the sets they bought. They bought 2 of the same set, one for each of them, and they wore it so they could wear matching outfits. They were really enjoying it and trying it on, and they said to me, "Don't you think we look like sisters?" And her friend, who is an only child, said to her, "I always wanted a sister," and they were all going on about how if someone saw them, they'd think they were sisters. I was like, you could definitely not pass off as sisters, because they look nothing alike. For the record, my girlfriend is a short Asian girl with a small and thin body and black hair. Her friend is a tall white girl with blonde hair, completely different body type, taller and curvier and so on. Different body proportions, different face, different race. I just pointed out there was no way they could ever be confused as sisters because they looked nothing alike. They said I ruined the fun mood. They were only having fun, and I made things weird by bringing race and appearance into it. I don't think I did anything wrong. I just pointed out the fact that they did not look anything like sisters cause they are completely different in race and appearance, even if they were wearing matching clothes. Was I being mean or rude? First comment. Alani. First comment. AITA. First, they were joking around and you killed the mood. Second, families don't have to match. My kids are black and DH and I are white. In our extended family, we have a set of mixed-race siblings, all biologically related, who look nothing like one another at all, in large part because some of them favor their mom's coloring while the others favor their dad's. There are even instances of twins being born where one is white presenting and the other is black presenting. Don't be so rigid. Second comment. You're not an asshole, perhaps just a bit clueless, LOL. Don't you think we look like sisters is a rhetorical question and doesn't need a reply. It was a bonding moment for your GF and her friend because they treat each other as sisters. I don't blame you though, I would have had the same comment, except I would have kept it to myself and simply smiled next time read the room. Third comment. AITA. It's a common thing to joke about. And hey, if Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger can be twins, they surely can be sisters. Personal story time with an alternate ending was in a similar position, although my GF was black instead of Asian friend still white, and it went something like this. GF, don't we look just like sisters? Me sisters? Hell no, more like twins. GF, well, you know. That might be a stretch, me nah. Both parents were mixed race and she happened to get the genes that make her a tall, blue-eyed white girl while you got the genes that make you the person I love most in this world. No one clapped, but I got good BF points for days.